How can you use AI and more specifically ChatGPT to study? This is what we're going to discuss today. Remember something. Everything that I'm going to teach you here will also be useful if you want to use Gemini or any other kind of technology. However, I tried these prompts on ChatGPT. So there I can assure you they will work. And why did I choose ChatGPT? Because from my point of view, it is the best AI technology that is available so far, at least for this purpose, for language learning. It is amazing. Okay, so let's begin. And guys, today's class is going to be really interesting. Why? Because I'm going to show you the prompt and I'm going to show you the chat so that you can see what you can do with the prompt. Okay, so we're going to see the presentation and then we're going to take a look at ChatGPT. So this is how it's going to work. And so let's begin. So first of all, you need to understand something. AI can't replace a teacher. So you need someone to guide you. Here in our courses, we have a lot of students who try to study by themselves using AI and they couldn't reach their desired result, their goal, right? Why not? Because believe it or not, we teachers, we know more than artificial intelligence. And I can clearly see this when I use sometimes ChatGPT to help me, for example, with my model answers. Sometimes it corrects some points saying, this is too formal or this is yada, yada, yada. And I know what the artificial intelligence is saying that at that moment isn't right because I know the exam really well. I've taken the exam and I've been doing that since 2019. So you also have to keep in mind that the artificial intelligence is still like at its infancy. It has a lot to learn. It is learning from us. We learn from it and it learns from us, right? But it is very helpful for you to understand your mistakes. I'm a big believer in mistake analysis, and I'm going to talk about mistake analysis again in this class later. Mistake analysis is very important because most of the times people they make mistakes and they don't stop to think why they made that mistake, how they could avoid making that mistake again. And in life, and also when we are learning something, trying to understand why we make mistakes is crucial. Otherwise, we'll be repeating the same mistakes over and over again. It is great if you want to improve your grammar and vocabulary. So if you want to focus on your mistakes, if you want to focus on your difficulties, ChatGPT can do that for you, can customize content for you. I'm going to show you that later. It's amazing for practicing writing and speaking, but when it comes to proficiency exams, whether we are talking about Duolingo English test, TOEFL, IELTS, or the OET, it may not be as effective if it doesn't have a model and if also when it is grading you. The grading is not reliable. So for example, if you ask for your grade in IELTS or the Duolingo English test, it may not be effective. But anyway, it is an amazing tool to help you with writing and speaking. And I'm going to show you how you can use that for speaking. And of course, to learn more natural English. So sometimes we non-native speakers, we have problems sounding natural in some situations, even when you're an advanced speaker or a fluent speaker. So for example, I'm a fluent speaker, but if I'm faced with a completely new situation, my brain may work a little more slowly and I may end up translating something literally. Literal translation sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. You all know that. Most of the times It doesn't work, to be very honest with you. So you can ask ChatGPT to help you say something in a more natural way, to help you write something in a more natural way, depending on the context. So if you're writing an academic text and you don't know how to write in an academic way, you can ask the ChatGPT to fix the text for you. If you tend to be more formal, you can do the opposite. You can ask ChatGPT to turn it into something more casual. Okay. But artificial intelligence only works properly when you have prompts, when you provide information. All right. So you have to provide information. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay. Guys, the class may still like last for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I don't know. But what is a prompt? So for those of you who don't know what a prompt is basically an instruction, let's say. So you're gonna let the artificial intelligence know what you need from it. If your prompts are clear and specific, the answer will be more precise, will be more useful. If the prompt is very vague, the answer will be weak, and you may even have an imprecise answer. So the answer can be imprecise if you don't brief ChatGPT correctly. Think of ChatGPT as a very, very smart assistant. However, it can only help you if you, the boss, gives instructions. So the boss needs to give some instructions, okay? And let's see an example of a bad prompt. Correct this, fix this, rewrite this. This is poor. Write something more specific. I'm a B1 student. I'm a C1 student. I'm a B2 student. If you don't know your level of English yet, you can ask a ChatGPT to do a test for you, to design a test for you, and to decide what your level is. So ChatGPT can even do that for you. Yes. And then, okay, I'm a B1 student, correct my task and explain my mistakes. Guys, asking for mistake explanation is crucial. And if you are an A2, B1 level student, you should ask the ChatGPT to provide simple, objective explanations, because sometimes it speaks in a very difficult way and you may have trouble to understand. But if you are like high, intermediate, or advanced, it's not a problem. It won't be a problem for you. Probably not. Okay. And let's begin with writing. So writing is one of students' biggest difficulties because unfortunately, in most English courses, students don't have to write. So they sometimes can learn how to speak very well, but they can't write. And this is a problem because you become illiterate. If you don't know how to write in your language, you were what? Illiterate. So you were just like learning how to be illiterate in another language. In my regular English course, do Zero ao Mundo, there is a writing test every other lesson. Sometimes 2 lessons in a row have writing activities. So this learning how to write is important, but it's an area that is underestimated. So you can use this prompt. I'm a B1 level student, correct my task and explain my mistakes. Please use simple explanations. All right. However, you can always go deeper. You can ask a GPT. You can rewrite the text yourself. Okay. So you see the mistakes, get a notebook and handwrite your text again, rewrite it. Why? There is research that has already proved that when we write content, we actually handwrite content, we learn that content more easily, we absorb a bigger amount of information. You can ask ChatGPT for a more advanced version of your text. So ChatGPT, can you rewrite my text, changing the level to a C1 level? ChatGPT will do that for you. And you can also ask the ChatGPT, can you rewrite this text in 3 different ways using synonyms, using similar vocabulary? It will also do that for you. This is a great way of learning vocabulary, learning paraphrasing, learning synonyms. And after all that, you can even ask ChatGPT to create a short exercise of focusing on your mistakes. So ChatGPT is highly customizable. You can customize content for you based on your needs. Do you have any idea of how it is difficult and challenging for us teachers to do that for you? And why is it difficult? Because it is time consuming. If I have to customize an exercise for a specific student, this will be like hard work for me, not because it is difficult and I don't know to do that, but because it's going to take me many hours. And ChatGPT can do that in seconds. So this is extremely useful and will help you improve your English considerably. Okay. So this how can you go deeper part, like asking for more advanced versions, for different versions, and also asking to practice structures is a strategy you can use in all the other situations that I'm going to show you here. So I won't be repeating this. Can you go deeper? How can you go deeper part? Okay, but keep that in mind that you can do that like whenever you need. So let me show you now, because I told you I was going to show you an example of the prompt, like of ChatGPT in action. Let me show you here how that works. Okay. I'm a little frustrated with the screen sharing here. I think you remember that I had trouble last week. Okay. So here's ChatGPT, and I copied and pasted my prompt here, and I wrote a simple text with some mistakes. So I'm Tara, I have 22 years old, and I lived in Brazil for 20 years. So there are some mistakes, and ChatGPT corrected the text for me, and it explained the mistakes here. You see? Like it is explaining that we don't usually say I'm loving. It says we should say I love you. And can you rewrite my text to make it sound more advanced? So it gave me 2 different options. You see how interesting it is? And I also asked ChatGPT to create a grammar activity so that I could work on my mistakes. Okay, so here it is. 3, 4, and yeah, even another short writing task. Sorry. So I think you understood, right? What you have to do here. All right. So let me take you back to the presentation. Now we're going to see another way of using ChatGPT. This is super interesting. This is guided writing. Guided writing is a very powerful way of improving your writing skills. What is guided writing? You're going to ask for literally some guidance on vocabulary. So what if you're writing about technology, what vocabulary should you use? What grammar structure should you use? So the prompt addresses this. Like I'd like to write about, for example, technology. Suggest useful vocabulary and linking words related to the topic. Tell me which grammar I should focus on. So ChatGPT will provide the topic, the vocabulary, and the grammar, and also the linking words. Remember, linking words are extremely important. So yeah, you have everything that you need. So now let me show you what happened here when I asked ChatGPT to do that for me. Let me just like put this screen here. Okay, Damn it. 1 minute, guys. 2. Where is number 2? Okay, number 2. So here we go. So I asked here, I'm a B1 level student. I'd like to write about work. So ChatGPT suggested a topic. So for example, a very relevant topic here would be working from home versus working in an office, because this is the kind of subject that has become really popular in all proficiency exams, whether you were preparing for IELTS, DT, or TOEFL. They are always addressing this issue of remote work. So this is something you should definitely practice. Okay. And Fernanda, I'm going to answer your question. Okay. And you have the vocabulary here. You have some verbs, linking words also, and the grammar focus, what you need to focus on. And ChatGPT even provided a writing structure. So this is perfect. Guided writing is a powerful tool, and you can use powerful guided writing like whenever you want, just to improve your language skills, not just for proficiency exam, guys. Remember that you also need to write because you're going to college and you're going to work. You have to write professional emails. So ChatGPT will save your life. And Fernanda is asking an interesting question. You just stop sharing and share your question here. Can I say I'm studying to get 120 on DT? Yes, you can. As I told you, the grading system is something that is ChatGPT still needs to improve. It doesn't necessarily know what exactly 120 is, but it knows that it's like B1, B2, more B2, and it will try to keep you at that level. Yes, you can do that, but be careful with the grading. But it knows it is B1, B2, so no problem. More B2 than B1, but it will understand. Guys, if you don't know, A is the basic level of the language, B is the intermediate level, and C is the advanced level. Okay, B1 is like low intermediate, B2 is high intermediate, and there goes on. Okay, so let's continue with our presentation, with our class. And now I want to talk about the DT, right? About a photo. Guys, if you're here and you don't know what the DT is the Duolingo English test, okay? So you can explain, I'm preparing for the Duolingo English test. I did write about the photo activity, correct my task, and explain my mistakes. Please use the simple explanations. Then rewrite the text suggesting improvements to increase my score. You can do that kind of request. Like you can write that kind of prompt for any proficiency exam. I'm studying, I'm preparing for the OET. I wrote referral letter, correct my task and explain my mistakes, rewrite the text, suggest improvements. Whatever you're studying, okay? It can help you with whatever you need. So, but let me show you what ChatGPT can do for you in this regard. Sorry, guys. You can see, here it is. Here it is. So, tip 3. So, it's tip 3. So, guys, let me suggest something. The prompt will be even better if you get a model answer and you copy and paste it there. Or you can take a screenshot of the model answer that I teach, for example, in my materials. Okay, my teacher wants me to follow this template, wants me to follow this way of writing. So use this as a reference. It will get even better. It will provide you with richer insights. So let's see now what happened when I asked ChatGPT to correct my text, and I'm gonna address an issue. Let me here. So let's go to 3, class tip 3. So I explained what I need, ChatGPT understood, and then I wrote my text. Okay, so it is correcting my mistakes. I wrote they seems, it corrected. I wrote sneaker, and here it is explaining my mistakes. Okay, they are using summer clothes. No, we don't use summer clothes. We wear summer clothes, right? And then it rewrote the task for me. However, because I didn't provide a model answer, it wrote the photo shows, and I have already told you, don't use the photo shows, don't use the picture shows, use the image depicts, because the verb to depict is a C2 level verb, and this is going to contribute considerably to your score. The better and the higher the level of the vocabulary you use, the higher your grade will be. Okay, so you see, very interesting and also easy, guys. It is easy. But let's continue. Let's continue. I have a lot. The students yesterday, they loved when I talked about speaking. I think I'm going to shoot a YouTube video teaching how to use ChatGPT to improve your speaking skills, because it is so interesting. And replace basic words with stronger ones. Guys, you students tend to use good and bad, for example, for anything. This is good, that is good. This is bad, that is bad. And good and bad are weak words. They are not precise enough. For example, did you like the movie? Yes, it was really good. What does that mean? Like the movie is good? Because if it's a horror movie, the movie is good because it is scary. If it is a comedy, the movie is good because it is funny. If it is a rom-com, the movie is good because it's romantic and funny at the same time. So use more precise words, especially when you are preparing for proficiency exams. Okay, use more specific words. And let me show you. I asked ChatGPT to work on this for me, and it came up with really interesting examples. And let's take a look at 4. Here you go. Here we are. So I'm a B1. I overuse the word good. Guys, you can't replace good with any other word like important, whatever. Okay. So it taught nice, great, very good, excellent, amazing, interesting, useful, helpful, positive, enjoyable, effective, satisfying. Guys, I wouldn't use nice, great, and very good because it's also basic. So you can ask it. I don't like words 1, 2, and 3. They're too basic. Please come up with other words and we'll do the work for you. Okay. And if it doesn't give you an example, ask for an example. It is very important. And what else? Can you give me more examples that are C1 level? So I asked ChatGPT to improve the level of words. So it came up with outstanding, remarkable, exceptional, impeccable, many nice words that are going to help you increase your score. So after that, you can even ask ChatGPT to create an exercise for you using the words that it taught you here. So you see, it is a paid resource, but believe me, it has like great value if you know how to use it. And Fernanda is saying something. When I speak about the photo, it's most challenging because when I make the simulation, time is not enough. But Fernanda, you will only be able to write more and better, to make most of your time when you are doing the sample test if you practice a lot before without focusing too much on timing, because you need to learn what to do first and to know by heart what to do, like to always begin with the image depicts and da 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 da. They are wearing this and that, or she's wearing this and that. The weather seems to be cold, and it is possible to see that it's going to rain because there are clouds in the sky, and in the background it is possible to see. So you have to memorize that stuff, and you will only be able to do that if you practice, like not just within the time frame, but also like to study and take it easy and not focus too much on the time that you have. Probably because it's time is short. Yeah. So Fernanda, unfortunately, like DT is more about memorizing stuff. Is a really it's an American exam, and behaviorism is like the foundation of DT, even though they don't like to address that issue. So you have to study also in a kind of repetitive way, you know. And Caroline is asking if you're going to share this material after class. Of course, we're going to start uploading the materials and the classes on the platform. But after class, I'm going to share the material with you in our groups, in my students' groups. Okay. All right. So essential words. You can also ask ChatGPT to teach you 15 essential words related to the topic. When is this useful? Before you write. So let's suppose that you want to write an IELTS text about let me see, technology, social media. You can ask a ChatGPT to come up with 15 essential words that you need to use if you're going to talk about social media. You can study those words, and then you can try to use those words in your text. I will be very fast here because, I mean, this is quite simple to understand. Again, guys, I forgot to share the screen with you, but I'm going to do it just like for you to understand like what I'm talking about. So this is tip number 5, essential words. Okay. And let me show you now what I did on ChatGPT. So this is tip 5. It was here. Okay. So give me a list of 15 essential words related to the topic food and cooking. So it wrote like meal is an extremely important word, taste, healthy. If you are not happy with the words, you can say, listen, I need more adjectives, I need more verbs, I need more nouns, So you can brief it. You can always complain. I complain a lot. You didn't do what I want. Come on. I always complain. So, we're paying, so we got to complain. And collocations. Guys, if you don't know what collocations are basically 2 or 3 words that are naturally used together. So, for example, to gain knowledge. To gain knowledge is an academic advanced collocation. We don't say to raise knowledge. We say to gain knowledge. We also don't usually say to get knowledge because the verb to get is extremely informal, while the noun knowledge is formal. So we don't usually use an informal and a formal word together. We tend to use informal, formal, always. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what happened here when I asked ChatGPT to come up with collocations with the word achievement. You can pick a topic, but you can also pick a word. Like I would like to see collocations with health, for example. And ChatGPT will do that for you. So you see a great achievement, a major achievement, a remarkable achievement, a sense of achievement. So it's teaching you prepositions of achievement in, achievement of, to celebrate, to recognize an achievement. So it even shows common mistakes. Make an achievement. No, you don't make an achievement. You achieve something. And then it created an exercise, and you can ask the ChatGPT, teach me more collocations with the word achievement and create another exercise. It's amazing. It's your personal tutor, and you don't have to pay by the hour. For example, I charge by the hour to teach, and ChatGPT can do many of the things that I do. Again, guys, it won't be replacing teachers any sooner, but it can do a lot of stuff that I can do, you know. Não estou me sabotando, eu me sinto muito segura de estar passando esse conhecimento para vocês, porque eu sei que o meu trabalho, ele é um trabalho indispensável, eu sei que os alunos não conseguem evoluir nos exames, a boa parte dos alunos não conseguem evoluir no exame de proficiência sem o meu insight one-on-one, né? Olha, você precisa melhorar isso aqui não tá bom, vamos fazer isso aqui, vamos tentar isso aqui, até porque a educação tem o fator humano, né? Você precisa me dizer, olha, eu sou muito inseguro, eu tenho esse problema aqui, e eu já vejo o que está acontecendo, eu te direciono para aquele lado ali, né? Infelizmente ou felizmente, para mim, a inteligência artificial não é capaz de fazer isso ainda. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know. Nobody knows. But okay. Practice for DT, read and complete. Yes. You can also use ChatGPT for that. IELTS, if you're studying for IELTS, you can ask ChatGPT to make up a text for you about an academic topic, IELTS style, and create true, false, not given questions for you. You can do this with any exam question, any, okay? But I'm gonna show an example here. So on the Duolingo English task, you have this kind of task called read and complete, and there is a short text, and this text has some incomplete words. And what you have to do here is to complete the words. That's why it is called read and complete. These words, they usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 6 letters to help you figure out what word you need. And you also know the number of letters that are missing, okay? You can ask a ChatGPT to do that, but I highly recommend that you try to do it without knowing how many letters the words have, because this will be more challenging for you. And when you work on the DT platform and you know the exact number of letters you need, it will be easier for you to guess the word. Believe me, when you are studying, always try to do something more complicated, because then you can be ahead. You can go beyond always. And let me show you what ChatGPT did. I loved the exercise it created. So I of course, it is always important to brief it properly. So I shared a text here with ChatGPT, and improving concentration while studying. So it created a text. You can answer the questions, like complete the words, and then you can ask ChatGPT to help you. If you need a tip, Maybe because you were studying here with ChatGPT, because I don't know the word here. Can you give me a tip? You can also ask a ChatGPT to number the gaps. It's up to you. I created something simple, something straightforward, but you can enrich the prompts. And this is the magic of ChatGPT. And let's continue. Practice for that filling the blanks. In the filling the blanks task, you only have one sentence instead of a text. So you can also ask a ChatGPT to create that for you. Again, whether you are studying for the OET, for DT, for IELTS, for TOEFL, you can ask, you can get one specific type of task that you have to do on the exam and ask ChatGPT to create something for you. Are there any foreigners here? Because I've noticed that a lot of Chinese people and Indian people are watching my videos. Our Indian and Chinese audience is increasing, and also people from Portugal. Are there like people from Portugal here? I would love to hear from you. Sometimes people from Portugal write me on Instagram. Hi, I'm from Portugal. I really like your content. I want to be your student. It's so nice. Sorry, I want to show you ChatGPT. I got distracted here talking about that. So this was 8, 7. Let's take a look at 8. You see, it created some sentences of many employees prefer remote work because it allows greater flexi in their daily routine. I don't think you need the number of letters here to guess this word, guys. Do you know what it is? Can anybody tell me what the word is? Flexi. Exactly. Flexibility. Of course. You see, like the documentary raised public about the long-term effect of climate change, public awareness. So ask ChatGPT to help you with these questions. It's gonna be like it's gonna be very useful. It's something that may change seriously your performance here, because I know that a lot of people have problems with read and complete and filling the gaps. I'll be very sincere with you guys. I don't like this type of question because I feel under pressure, and when I'm under pressure, I can't, like perform the same way. I don't know. I don't like pressure, but it is what it is. Paraphrasing. You can ask ChatGPT to create 8, 5, 8, 10, 20, 50 short sentences about a specific topic, for example, about technology. And you paraphrase those sentences, and then you ask a ChatGPT for correction. Guys, paraphrasing, what is paraphrasing? Is when you rewrite something using different words but keeping the meaning. And in proficiency exams, paraphrasing is really important. For example, if you are doing IELTS and the examiner asks you, do you like sport? And you answer, yes, I like sport very much. You won't get the same grade as someone who says, definitely, I'm really into sports, especially soccer. As I told you, I'm Brazilian, and in Brazil, soccer is the national sport. I'm from Rio, and I support a team that is very popular in my hometown called Flamengo. So you will get a better score if you paraphrase. And paraphrasing is important in writing, in both writing and speaking. So this is a great way of practicing. Let me show you here what you can do and what ChatGPT can do for you here. So I asked ChatGPT to come up with sentences about education that I could paraphrase. So education helps people find better job opportunities. So how can you paraphrase that? Okay. Or many students prefer online classes because they are flexible. You can say something like this. Um, a great number of students would rather study online due to the higher flexibility of this studying method. So you can paraphrase it, and ChatGPT will let you know if it is right or wrong, and it will correct your mistakes and explain why you made a mistake and probably suggest something different for you. Okay, we have another Flamenguista here, Thales. Of course. You know, I have an American friend called Paul, and he supports Fluminense. And he told me, I chose the Fluminense because everybody prefers Flamengo. You know, there are a lot of Flamenguistas everywhere. It's cliche. So I chose Fluminense, and I was like, I don't believe it. He was telling me that like he was so proud, you know. And I was like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You have the choice and you choose Fluminense. You don't choose Flamengo. Come on. Just kidding, guys. I'm not kidding. But let's continue. And I'm sorry if you guys like enjoy Fluminense, but Flamengo is Flamengo. And now let's talk about grammar. So, how can you improve your grammar skills with ChatGPT? So, always explain your level, especially when you're practicing grammar. Explaining the level is very important. Choose the topic, present perfect, linking words, comparative. And then you can ask the ChatGPT to create 3 different exercises for you. And a more basic exercise, intermediate, and something more challenging. And let me show you. So Carlos is Palmeirense. Go Palmeiras. Okay, I only support Flamengo. I don't support any other teams like in São Paulo, because I know that some people like Corinthians in São Paulo, Atlético Paranaense in Curitiba, but I just don't like Vasco. Falei, gente. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Vasco is like our number one rival. Oh my God, our arch enemy. So let's see here. I actually don't care about soccer anymore, guys. I don't watch soccer. Of course, I feel happy when Flamengo wins because my family loves Flamengo. My uncle, my cousins, my brother, they love Flamengo. So I feel very happy. But nowadays, I don't watch soccer matches anymore. My mom, I don't have the time for that. But let's see here, comparative, guys. So I asked the ChatGPT to create an exercise with comparative, and then it like explained everything that I needed to know. It created 3 short exercises. So maybe you can ask for more exercises. So I would like 3 exercises with 15 questions each, and ChatGPT will do whatever you want. So Carol is saying, go Grêmio, Grêmio. I watched a Flamengo and Grêmio match in Maracanã. It was my husband's first match in Maracanã. It was lovely. We won. It was lovely. It was lovely. So, if I'm not wrong, it was like final do Brasileirão or semifinal, something like that. I don't remember. But it was a lovely match. And okay. So now, let's continue talking about grammar. Guys, this exercise in here is like very important. Why? Because you're going to ask a ChatGPT to focus on common learner mistakes and also mistakes that you have made before. you know? So mistakes that you have made, like, and it will select some of the mistakes you made, some of the mistakes people usually make regarding that subject, and you create something customized for you, focusing on your difficulties. And this is amazing. If I had to design one exercise like that for each student that I have, it would take me 1,000 years. But again, ChatGPT can do that in a few seconds. Okay, so this type of activity is essential. So let me show you also an example here very fast, because now we're going to talk about speaking. I'm excited about speaking. So here, like, I asked for mistakes with verb tenses. Yeah. And here, and I forgot to tell you, this kind of exercise is different because I asked ChatGPT to create exercises in which I would have to spot the mistakes. So this kind of exercise in which you have to correct the sentence, you have to correct the text, is amazing. This is amazing because it really makes you think. So if I were you, I would work a lot on this type of exercise. Remember that I told you that it is very important to analyze your mistakes. So this is what you were doing here. You were analyzing mistakes. Okay. So this is one of the most effective type of exercises. And okay. Tip 12, daily conversation practice. So now I'm going to show you what ChatGPT can do for you regarding speaking. I don't think you can do that with the free version of ChatGPT. I think you need to use the paid version, okay? So I'm a B1 level student. Let's practice a real life conversation English about whatever. Instructions. Ask me one question at a time. Use natural everyday English. After my answer, give short feedback, grammar plus vocabulary. Then ask the next question. Use the voice tool. Okay, if you do that on your computer, this is what's going to happen. Let me show you here. This is 12. All right. So let me share it now with you. Here we go. Okay. So I said that I want to practice about work, right? So what do you usually do on a normal weekday? So I talked to ChatGPT. It transcribed my answer and made a few suggestions, okay? And here I started something else. But let me give an example, okay? Let me copy the prompt and show you. Ok. Let me put B2. Vou tentar fingir que eu sou uma B2. In English about social media. I think there is something missing here. Okay, there is. Grammar, la, 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 la. Okay. So, okay, ChatGPT talked to me. You couldn't hear it, but it also transcribed. So first question, how do you use social media and which apps do you use the most? Okay, so I'm gonna talk to dictate or use the voice tool. Let's use the voice tool. I usually use social media for business purposes, professional purposes. I hardly ever post something personal on social media because I don't have patience or time for that. Nevertheless, I do enjoy interacting with my followers, Many of them have become students, and the social media that I like the most is Instagram. I don't enjoy TikTok, for instance. Vamos ver. Ah, what happened? Ah, eu não salvei. Ah, vamos aqui então. I use social media for professional purposes. I hardly ever use it for personal purposes. I never post pictures of mine in my free time. I think social media can be a great waste of time if you don't know how to use it. However, I think I use it wisely, and I do like interacting with my followers. Many of them have become students, and I enjoy using I enjoy Instagram. I don't like using TikTok. Don't know. Let's see. Vamos lá. Não vale consertar os erros aqui e as travadas, hein, gente? Tem que ser honesto. Vamos lá. Vamos botar aqui. Vamos ver o que o chat vai falar pra gente, ó. Tá vendo? Então, deu sugestões para mim do que fazer, né? Você pode perguntar. Before we move on, can you suggest improvements? Ó. And ChatGPT will suggest something for you. It's totally okay to say pictures of mine, guys. Or pictures of myself, whatever. Okay. So anyway, you see, it suggested 2 different ways of saying something. Now, let me show you on the phone. Okay. So I'm going to show you here what you can do, because on the phone, it works better. So you see, you have to click on the black button. So let's see. Hi, ChatGPT. I'm preparing for IELTS, and I would like you to ask me questions about my daily routine. Remember to really follow the IELTS style.
All right, let's dive into it in an IELTS style.
Can you hear it? Okay,
Yes.
First question, please.
Certainly. Could you walk me through what you usually do in the morning, starting from when you wake up?
I usually get up at 7. I wake up at 6:30, but I enjoy staying in bed for a while, thinking about my day. And after I get up, I take a shower, I brush my teeth, and I put on my makeup. After that, I go to my daughter's bedroom to wake her up, and I spend some time with her, and then we go downstairs to have breakfast.
That's a well-structured answer. One small note, instead of saying I enjoy staying in bed, say staying in bed. Now, what do you typically do after breakfast?
Tá vendo? Ele fez uma correção aqui que, tipo, não ser, tipo, em vez de dizer staying in bed, diga staying in bed. After breakfast, I have to take my daughter to school, and she starts school at 10 a.m. Then I come back home and I start work until it's time to pick her up at school again.
That's clear. Just a small tweak. Instead of I start work until, you could say I work until it's time. Now, how do you like to unwind after your day is done?
I do crochet. I love crafts, and I always have a new project. Now I want to learn how to do crochet toys, but at the moment I'm working on a kitchen rug.
That's That's a lovely hobby. Just one note, instead of how to do crochet toys, you'd say how to make crochet toys. Now, how do you typically end your evening before going to bed?
É verdade, gente, ele veio na coesão, que legal, sabe por quê? Na hora que eu falei, eu percebi que eu errei, porque a gente I do crochet, mas como a gente tá falando que tá fazendo brinquedo, teria que ser make mesmo, tá vendo? Então, é muito bom